So I'm going to show you multiple sections I'm going to fish through the day here, and just basically really concentrate and break down how I'm looking at the water, where I set up and why I set up where I set up. The water we'd already drifted through. There's a fish. You see how that happened on the very end? I'd already casted and fished through that stuff, but allowing your drift to go through the water you'd already fished gave us this opportunity to get a hit. So I moved up into another area, and we're further away from the dam. So again, temperatures have warmed up, so hoping that'll influence the bug activity here. As you can see, we're still going to focus on some slow water. So we got a eddy on our side of the river, and then we have the main current running out here. And as we pan upstream, you'll see again similar situation as to upstream. We're seeing a riffle shelf drop into the pool. Again, that transition of water having to change its contour from the shallow shelf to the deeper pool is going to slow that current down, giving the fish an area where they can hold to feed. And as well, that shallow shelf is where a lot of the aquatic insects are going to live, because the sunlight can penetrate, giving energy to algae growth and that sort of thing. And so as the aquatic insects hatch, they start drifting off the bottom and into these pools where they can eddy out as the current manipulates their drift, suspending them for trout to pick off. So yeah. So as mentioned before, we're going to start on the back end here. A lot more brown trout in this area, so I'm going to be a little more stealthy. This water down here has got a little more turbidity to it, so it's a little off color, so hopefully that'll give us a little bit of this cover while we work through. But anyway, let's go ahead and get set up. Alright, so I'm going to start at the back end. Switched up, eliminated the egg pattern to 2 midges and size 16s on both of them to help get down. But yeah, the water down here has got a little more color to it, so that'll give us a little bit of cover bottom. However, that being said, I'm not sure where this turbidity comes from. It may come from some cattle or horses upstream. There's a lot of farmland in this area, and if that's the case, then it may put these fish off because it was kind of unexpected. So we'll see. We'll see how this ends up. A lot of stuff on this river bottom. You know you're on the bottom, you get hung up. So sacrifice a fly, retie. So actually I'm going to switch out to a ICU, May ICU, which is the latest in the Nmaktima family of flies. That's a 16, more of a mayfly pattern. So you do see some blueing olives hatching as well. So again, we're going to start right on that seam. I don't want to start too far to our side because of the back eddy coming through. Current pushed it in. So I'm kind of right in that middle transition area where the back eddy and the main current flow sort of meet, but leaning more towards the main current flow because I want to cover water. meaning I want it to start up here and then cover downstream. Versus if I start too close, then I got the current pushing up and I don't get much of a drift. So, oh, come on. Let's get your cast right, Norm. Yeah, we'll see how this is because of the temperatures. And see if this is warmed up enough to get these fish active. Should start to see bugs moving around, midges in particular. Maybe I'm bottom. I thought that was a fish for a moment. I was getting towards the end of the drift and just gave it a hook set just to check. So me moving up, having to undo these flies can give away my presence, which try not to do on this river because these fish are fairly spooky. Lost another fly. Man, that tore that up. All right, I may have to re-rig because that really scuffed up my leader. So I got caught under some sticks and rocks possibly. All right, retied again. Losing a lot of flies in here. So I'm trying to stay on the bottom because I know these fish aren't suspended all that much, but same time we got a lot of beavers, muskrat in this area, so they accumulate a lot of willow branches and their food caches, which these pools create, so they can just kind of pile things in here and they just come back later and pick them up to eat, strip the bark off of them. All right, let's get on the current just a little bit more so it drops into the slow deep pool here. Work up the top and let it drift in. Paused. Didn't want to drift anymore. Trying to get just a little bit more into the current. Bottom. Ooh, got that back at least. This can be a tough pool to find fish in. Conditions have to be pretty optimal in order to have these fish be active in here, I find. That wind's pushing on my cider, not allowing for a good drift. Sped it up quite a bit. One thing you can do to reduce that is lower your rod, but you got to shorten up on your line, reduce that surface area of line that's exposed to the wind by bringing your rod lower, shortening up the amount of line that's sticking out of the rod tip, and hope that's enough just to kind of reduce that push from the wind. Well, we might not find anything out of this pool, but again, that was just tough when you're getting hung up and giving away your position. Now the wind's really picking up here. All right, one thing you can do to also help with the wind is go a little heavier on your flies. I'm not going to change the weight of the size or weight of the top fly. I'm going to change the weight of the point fly. I'm going to go a little heavier. So I got the May I See You nymph on there with a 16, go to a 14. Just give it a little more weight. help ballast the rig against the breeze, if you will. Alright, I may make one more fly change here and just try that egg. Ah, come on. Who knows, I may just get a reaction strike out of it. Yeah, let's do one change real quick. And then we'll move up, because I feel like I may have ruined this already. Okay. I'm seeing mid shucks in the water. They're starting to get moving here. That's a hit. Oh, it ate the egg. I was pretty late on the hook set though. Oh man. That looked like a rainbow. Good size rainbow. I think that was the one that was suspending because it was a little light in color. It's gonna keep me here for a few more casts now. Bottom. All right. Missed one, Povey. Well, this wind may cut our day a little shorter. I don't have much time anyway, so we'll hit this last spot, see how we do, deal with the wind, go from there. Okay, let's get in position here. Got a lot more wind up here and the canyon's narrower, so it funnels down through. So I think suspension rig is going to be the name of the game, especially if we're going to run midges or anything like that sort. So okay, we got a riffle coming off of our shallow riffle dropping into a deep pool, coming into there's a rock point right here, and then a nice another deep trough down below here where it slows up. So that's where we'll pretty much start. All right, so I ended down there with the midge and a May I See You. I think I'm gonna switch back to icy midge on point, because there are quite a few midges on the water. And just stick with the midge game. Well, just for the sake of showing you guys, I'll try to run just a Euro rig here. So I got two size 16 midges. There's a rock point right up here, so I'm going to just cast off of that rock point and let it drift. Now you can tell the wind's pushing pretty hard. It's very difficult to control the drift. My cider's just getting blown all over the place, so I'm not getting much control on the presentation. And I'm having to shorten everything up, which isn't good because then it shortens my drift up and really prevents me from getting out where I need to be. Man. So I'm kind of going grease cider in the initial part of the drift. Hey, there you go. That worked. So I kept my rod tip down low, cider on the water, so no tight lining whatsoever, until it got to depth, until I saw my cider start to dip in the water. And then at that point I actually lifted my rod tip so I can get a visual on the cider, and that's when that fish hit. So that was really kind of lucky timing, truthfully. Alright, I think it'd be fun to get a underwater shot of the fish coming in. So let's see if I can do it. Try that again. So made my cast, kept my cider, keep my cider on the water, let the fly sink, and I can see the end of my cider as it starts to dip, and then that's when I lift. So at least at that point I know my flies are down low, having that water tension way down deep, kind of hold my flies in position. That's the hope anyway, or the idea. So again, letting my cider drop, letting those nymphs get down there. Man, that wind just pushes my rod all over the place too. Alright, so try to run this a couple more times, see if we can't fight that wind. And I'm probably going to gravitate toward the indicator here in a bit. That was kind of a lucky one though, I think. As soon as my cider dropped, I lifted and that fish was on it. Just not getting that slow drift I'm looking for. So let's switch out. Put the indicator on. Now the indicator will take care of the drift, and I'm just taking care of men's as much as I can. There you go. A lot better control on the drift. Brown, nice. Cool. Okay, let's try that again. Indicator one. That was pretty easy to deal with. Keeping my flies in the zone as long as I don't expose my leader to the wind too much. Man, that wind even pushes the indicator pretty fast. Had a hit. Missed it. Even a challenge to make your men's as well. they're there getting hits, just slowing the hit. So the other situation here is that they're probably filling that indicator as they grab it. They're filling the resistance and spinning it before I'm able to get tight, and I have kind of a lot of slack out here to make these mends happen, so I'm late on those hook sets. Come on, be there. There you go. That was at the bottom end. Able to get tight on it. So when you're dealing with wind, you're nymphing. I mean, you're not in competition, so just put an indicator. Or I'm running an Oros indicator, airlock. Those are my two favorite indicators. Whoa. Come here, buddy. Cool. Some line out so I can make my mend. Really kind of popping that rod tip into the wind there, keeping it a low angle into the breeze. Missed a hit there before as well. Trying to cut under the wind as much as you can, although I mean you're not really cutting under anything. That wind's got you. There you go, another one. It's a big difference in how your presentation is affected. Going from a tight line, no indicator, no suspension setup, to a suspension rig. These are pretty rainbows. Little holdover guys. Looking bow. Let's see how many more we can pick up. Man, that may be good just for a few more casts and get out of this wind. Proved a point here, I guess. Low angle on the mend, give it a decent amount of power, not super hard, but a nice little flick to cut it through the breeze. Fish. It's worthy of a net. Oh, he's like, never mind. No, thank you. Okay, so again, we're starting at the bottom end of this pool, kind of working our way upstream. So I mean, that's a lot of fish that are holding in here. Again, I'm focusing on not on the main current right out in front of me. I'm out in the slower seam, basically. All right, we'll give. Oh, there's one. Just as I was getting ready to cast. So the midges are hatching. They're active. Water temperature is a little warmer up here than down lower, so we're getting a little more aggressive fish. That's a nice one. Yeah. They look a little bow. downstream my indicator and just kind of roll my wrist upstream to kick that little mend up. Oh man, I was hoping I was going to hit it again on the lift. Little mend to start with to help stall it, let it get down. A little further out, so this mend's going to be a little more exposed to the wind. There you go. Actually, I had a little gust that pushed out that way, so it helped the mend. Made it easy. Now I got wind blowing downstream, and this wind just swirling. All right, we may move up here just a bit. Okay, so that rock point's right out here. Kind of juts out and comes in. It creates a little bit of a break down below. I was casting just out a little further. So the main current's right here. I was casting out about in here where the transition from fast to slow is, and that's where a lot of those eats were coming out, or that's where a lot of those trout were holding. So move up to here a little bit more and see what it does. Just get a little more current, but also this rock point that's down here will slow it up right in this area. But I imagine most of the fish are going to be out on that seam there. So we'll see. Give it a go here. Our side a little closer. We're obviously in the main current, so it's moving pretty quick through there. Again, you got a little better water temperature, more bugs moving, so you might get some of these fish holding in the faster stuff. Work our way out. But again, I imagine most of these fish are just going to be like at the bottom end of the pool here, just a little bit more out in that slow stuff. Those flies work up to that rock point down there. Oh. Alright, let's get out into that slow water. Try and get some mends out there. Little tangle. Take the time to really know your knots, get comfortable with them. Working with the material, your tippet material. Doing stuff like that to get rid of tangles or change rigs makes the day a lot more enjoyable if you can do it quickly. Or else it really eats into the day and can be a little frustrating if you're not used to it. Huh, interesting. We're not getting the eats like we were down lower. There we go. It started to dip. Real slow eat. Wasn't anything real obvious. That's a nice fish. Oh yeah, I can see it down there. Good brown. Sweet. Hopefully we can hang on to it so you can see it. Come on, baby. Time on him. When you're fighting fish, always keep that rod bent. I get a lot of clients and folks that I see where the rod goes way behind them, rather than keeping that 45-degree out in front of you, keep your hands in front of you. So whenever the fish moves or changes direction, you're there to respond and reel up what you can take in. I prefer the reel more than stripping in, because when you're stripping, you're relying on the grip of your finger, and sometimes it's not always consistent. Your tension of your drag should be a lot more consistent and precise than your fingers. When you're not reeling, like if you see I'm not holding onto the reel handle, let them run, let them do the thing, take in what you can, and then just get your hand off the reel. Let the drag system work its magic, as well keeping that rod tip, again, the rod at a 45-degree angle. If you can see the rod tip, it's flexed, it's bent, it's absorbing a lot of that pressure and shock. So you know, you're not stressing the hook, but also you're putting enough resistance onto the fish to get him tired, to get him worn down. So we're just gonna try and keep working this fish, keep adding resistance to it. I may need to get downstream in order to get it in some calmer water to land it. Nice brown. Try and work this fish back upstream of us here. He's still pretty feisty. Low angle, get that rod tip upstream of it. He keeps dogging going down. Notice I'm not whipping my rod back and forth trying to change angles. All that rod whipping just creates loosens up the fly out of their fishes, out of the mouth. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep that hook pinned in there. Just be calm when you fight a fish. Get him tired enough to lift up. Getting a little tired. Yeah. Come on, turn up, buddy. Oh, he's getting. Switch hand. My right arm's getting a little burnt. Come on. Spin around this way. Oh yeah. Oh man, that is an awesome fish. All right, well, I think that's gonna end the day. Hopefully you got that or saw that on the camera there. May not have big brown, but I think I got it on this, and I got some underwater footage while I was fighting it. So anyway, that's gonna end of the day. It's getting windy, it's cold. Yeah, I'll probably touch base with you guys here once I get back in the vehicle. All right, let's get out of here. Well, that was windy day on the water at the end there. But anyway, started up here close to the dam, just went through water type, what I do to approach, and you know, the midge activity was already going on up here. The water temperature a lot more favorable, the fish were active. We bailed out of here just to go check out some new water, went further downstream, wasn't happening down there. There were some midges popping, but you know, I think the water temperature was just cold enough to keep those fish from really from really getting on those midges and getting into the feed. So I turned one rainbow and that was it. But you know, again, went through the approach, water type and all that. Came back up here with a little bit of time left, and man, you know, getting up here where the canyon is much narrower, that wind just, you know, funnels right down this canyon here, and it's swirly. You got little side canyons coming in. but you know, the indicator did its job as far as keeping the drift consistent in the lane I was wanting it in, especially in that slower current. I got one fish just straight lining in the beginning, but you know, I think that was a little bit lucky. I was just let it sink, saw the sighter drop in a little bit, lifted to get tight, and that was when that fish was on it. So other than that, you know, I tried it a few more drifts and just wasn't able to keep the connection, keep the drift slow, especially in that slower moving water. So that's when I switched over to suspension setup. Basically just put an indicator on and go and start working your way through it. And then yeah, a few rainbows, and then ended on that really nice brown, 17-18 inches, heavy brown. Put up a good fight, and that's pretty much it. Fly of the day is the new pattern, the new black and white ICU midge. I'll have a video on how to tie that as well. The egg in the morning did well. I didn't turn anything on the May ICU, but again, there's really not much in the way of any betas happening. I saw one or two in the emergent phase, but that was about it. So you know, midges are the game for right now. Eggs early on, just to get that reaction hit, get those fish moving a little bit more until water temp warms up and those midges really start moving around. So anyway, that was the breakdown. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and let's get out of here. All right guys, take care. Thanks for all the support. Peace.